Eden Koz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. And as we begin the show, just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a soul realignment specialist, meditation master, and dimensional healer. Learn more, and there's merch also at EdenJustBe.com. Let's get this party started. Okay. All right, you feel good?
Feeling good.
All right, let's do it. Eden, Just Be, Spiritual Boom in association with the Grassroots Warriors Network. Welcome, Weston Rowe, raw meat eater. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I told you this is a very spiritual show. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Awesome. All right. As y'all know, I have a couple of things to talk about before we get into Weston and his bio. All right. I'm going to be recording a show on Charlie Kirk right when we get done with this, but it'll air before Weston. Because I was going to talk about him a little bit before we started, but then it started to become so much that I'm like, okay, I need to do something separate about that. To me, there's so much more involved with his assassination that meets the eye. And I just want to put it out there that it doesn't matter to me if you agree or disagree with Charlie. There were many things I wasn't quite in line with, but there were many things that I was. And I felt that he so strongly, because I watched probably 2 hours of his talks on college campuses and the hate that would come into his face and how he handled it. And he stood for his truth. And you might not agree with what he thought about personally. And he would always say that this is my personal belief and this is what Turning Point is all about. Yet, essentially, all he really did was hurt people's feelings. That's all he did. And he was so great at just having people critically think and look deeper at things. So I was so with him in terms of COVID, the vaccination, and faith, even though our feelings on faith are different. So he was just a courageous person. Wait, Weston, what are your feelings on him? And again, everyone can have anything different. It doesn't matter. What did you feel?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that being as this a spiritual podcast, I think it's very fitting to address that, we are in a spiritual, I believe we're in a spiritual war.
Yeah.
And we're spiritual beings, and everything physical is an illusion. So I think the minute you start like shooting bullets at people and trying to kill the physical self, you've lost the war, essentially, because you're not killing the idea, So it's like whoever killed him was trying to kill like an idea by killing him, but the idea is going to live on, and it's probably going to become even greater because now he's going to be martyred and statues and everything like that. So that's my opinion on, whether or not murder or war is the answer, because I believe that there's a spiritual truth that was here before we got here and it'll be here after we leave. And you can't kill that with a bullet. So I think you need to fight, the people that did disagree with him, if they wanted to fight that idea or fight what he was saying, like you have to do it in other ways. You have to be more strategic, etc. And I'm not saying I agree with the people that disagree with him, but yeah, I think he was a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
He was super smart. That's one thing I've noticed right away with that dude. He was like a genius basically. And and one thing I noticed about people that are very smart too is not to say anything bad about the way he looked, but they usually have very big heads. And it's because they have a big brain in there. There's like a direct correlation with head size and brain size. And I don't think most people know that.
I'm like, I need to measure my head when we get done and see, because you're right. Yeah. He did have a big head.
He had a very large head, and that you can, if you see somebody with a very large head, you can usually deduce from that they have a higher intelligence than the average person. But anyways, that's besides the point. He was a very smart dude. He was almost too smart for his own good. And the viral clips that were put online, like he made those people look really stupid. And I think that like really hurt their feelings. That's like
Yeah.
that can be like pretty disrespectful. But I don't think he was trying to do that. I just think he was so much smarter than everybody he was talking to that he came off as like really arrogant. And people hated that. People hate people that are that much smarter than them. And they just, they hate it. So that's what happened.
And you're correct on that. There were times when he would be speaking to someone that I would kind of like, ooh, cringe a little bit. Yet
Yeah.
it was still wild. He was still correct. And from his, again, from his perspective, and he stood up for what he believed in. And then even though he was arrogant, there was still a kindness.
Yeah.
It was just a wild. And I watched one guy come up to the podium to debate him, and he was like, oh, I'm really nervous because it could be that I end up on YouTube. And he had a man bun. You could
Mhm.
do a great man bun, Weston. He had a man bun, and he was like, oh my God, I might be on YouTube coming that, Charlie Kirk gets a guy with a man bun or whatever. He's like, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, the statistics and the numbers that he could and this person, have you read this book? And just, it was just like he was an encyclopedia.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that, Weston. I appreciate it. All right,
Sure.
so also published one of my shows, September 7th, 2025 went live. So Gold IRA scams, and I'm going to keep bringing this up because I feel like this is so important for the awakened community, investing in precious metals. Oh my gosh, such a good way to go. Yet who you go with is so important. So I'm in the middle of one of these scams. So I went with two people that are not really great, and Miles Franklin is helping me get out of it. And I trust these guys because Kevin, who's on the show, is assisting me. And it didn't matter if I ended up investing with them or not. They feel so passionate about helping people and the things that they've seen on the show. Kevin also gives 5 warning signs to go. So, for example, if you go to a site and Gold IRA is really big, or if they have really big name endorsers, run, run, run. So, if you have any concerns about yourself with the Gold IRA, go to info@milesfranklin.com. Put Eden in the subject line. I have a personal relationship with them. They will take care of you. And if you're thinking about investing in precious metals, I would also encourage that, because one thing I want to say, Weston, one thing that blew me away through all this, when I found out that who I was working with were not good, I probably for about an hour or two, my stomach knotted up. And then I was like, okay, I trust God. I have faith in everything. I know this will turn out. Even though the people that I chose to go with were not the highest people of integrity, the amount of money that I made, amazing. So it's just one of these things that now that I'm going with someone with integrity, I'm just so excited to see what this does. So let me throw
Good.
that out there, Wes. And if you haven't done precious metals, I would highly encourage. Okay, so let me go ahead and say, so in a typical IRA, like 8% is really, really good. I
Mhm.
made 24% with in just 2 years, 3 years. All right.
Amazing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love I love still actually I have some silver, just a little bit of
Yeah.
silver.
Yeah, please.
We just did a festival, and we brought our all of our business down there, and we set up, and we had people paying with silver, so we accepted silver for our goods. But and I got some really cool like 2 ounce silver coins and stuff. But I have just a little bit of stash, and I actually just recently, in the last couple weeks, I set up a like a stock ticker for silver and gold. It's right on the front of my phone. I'm,
Yes.
I'm following silver as we speak, and it doesn't seem like it's going down. I'm trying to find a good point to jump in, because I literally just started watching it. But yeah, it just keeps going up and up. It was at like 40 or
Mhm.
41 a couple weeks ago. Now it's at 43. So I'm just thinking I might, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm just going to basically like I have um, most of my money is in a high interest savings account, and then I'm going to buy silver as well. So that's kind of my
Yes.
plan.
Awesome. I would definitely encourage it, because to me, if this scam hadn't happened, I wouldn't have realized how much I had abundance I'd made. And also to put out there in terms of a spiritual show, I think that all of us in the world in this great awakening, it's going to be so good. Everybody's going to have abundance. So part of this, I'm like, it's good. It's okay. I'm not concerned about anything. yet it's just fun. It's so
Yeah.
so fun. Okay,
Yeah.
last thing, Weston. Thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for participating in this too.
Sure.
Okay, as I talked about, my goal is to have younger folks on the show. Weston, how old are you?
43.
43. Okay, and I connected to you through Lee was on my show
Mhm.
as well, and I watched one with you guys. So many younger folks have been so programmed. So I really want to try and bring younger voices, and it's somewhat challenging to find younger voices. And I'm sure Charlie is going to is making a huge difference with that. And I want to
Mhm.
do more nutrition videos as well. And then one last thing, Chandler, who will be her show will be broadcast well as we're on the show the past week. I really encourage you to watch it. She's a client of mine. She's 32. It's an alopecia story, and it doesn't matter. So major hair loss. Even if you're not connected to alopecia, it's a great show because we really dig into the spirituality that she started growing her hair back, and it was because she started connecting with her feelings.
Mm.
So spirituality in terms of as you open yourself, major chronic diseases and all of that can completely change. And we're going to talk about some of that with you. Okay, Weston. Oh my gosh. Okay, so raw meat eating father of an almost 2 year old natural home birth boy. I want to talk about that some too. Born and raised in Nebraska, in Texas now since May. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
All right. You are a construction worker, tradesman, social media influencer, business entrepreneur of RoweNaturals.com.
Mhm.
7 years raw meat eater featured on television, including TLC's documentary, My Strange Addiction.
Yeah.
All right. Can you first, I totally agree with you that we are in a spiritual battle right now. What and I feel that things are have really shifted, especially this past month, into such great things. When did you start seeing that something wasn't quite right, or started noticing that this was true for you?
Um, I think my awakening started when I probably about 10 years ago, I would
Okay.
say. And I got some major downloads, I guess you could say, that there was evil forces in the world. And I saw it started with, honestly, with me, with my family.
Yeah.
It started right at home with my immediate family and my extended family, out to my grandparents and everything. And I started seeing how, the evil forces, the dark forces had worked its way into my family and created, sort of been destructive. And so once I started seeing that, I started seeing how it was working like fractally into other people's families and all throughout the world. And it started just becoming very apparent to me that there was like a battle or like a war going on between good and evil.
So can you tell me, what were you seeing? What were you noticing?
Well, I started noticing that people were acting in ways that they didn't necessarily want to act. Like
Mm.
people were doing things that they didn't necessarily want to do. People were behaving in ways that later on would make them look very bad, but then they would probably look back at themselves and go, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I acted that way, et cetera, et cetera. So it seemed as if we were acting at a character, or there was like things influencing us and making us do things and make decisions that we wouldn't have made um, normally. So that's when I started getting into, are we becoming influenced by demons or influenced by evil forces, and they're making us or convincing us to make decisions that are just destroying ourselves. And I just started seeing how this is working throughout the world. And then I started getting into Christianity and starting to apply some of those principles to my life. And that really helped me out quite a bit, as far as like forgiveness and compassion and starting to understand the human condition and starting to realize that it's really easy to judge and hate people that make poor decisions or do things that would affect you. And it was just very helpful for me to understand that people that make these decisions don't necessarily intentionally do it. There's some sort of ulterior forces out there that are pushing it. So,
So did you not grow up with Christianity, or how what was your faith and how were you directed there?
We did, yeah. I mean, I grew up, going to church and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it's such a like religion is such a rabbit hole.
Yes.
It's like what direction do you want to go? It's like, is going to church actually Christianity? Is that what Jesus intended for us to do? Or was it more of just like a rule book for us for a way to live? And it's like, sure, like we did go to church, and I believe that my family probably did their best to um, apply the morals and principles, you know, to their behaviors. Um, but now that I get older, I start to see just all these different examples of so-called Christianity and ways of living, and I start to really question like what was the original message? And I think it's just so much simpler than what people are trying to say today. It's a very simple guideline and rule book and very simple morals, and you don't necessarily have to be a quote unquote Christian to live this way. You know what I mean? It's obviously the truth is out there outside of the religion. So, but yeah, we grew up influenced by Christianity and going to church and with the concept of God and things like that.
Nice.
Hmm.
So in terms of seeing the negative influence, did that also like in terms of the world, in terms of COVID, in terms of the lockdowns, in terms of the vaccines, what did you think about that?
Yeah, so my awakening, thank God, happens. The majority, like the big push that broke me through happened before COVID. So I was completely aware of the vaccine myth. I was completely aware of the virus myth. I was pretty deep into all of it before COVID even came out. So when it initially started coming out, I was just observing the whole thing. And from the very, very beginning, I was warning my family. I said, hey, I just sent like a group text to everybody. I was like, hey, I just want to throw this out because I knew that like half of my family wouldn't do what I said. But I just said, hey, like, because I started feeling guilty. Like, if I don't say something to these guys
Yeah.
and they take this shot and something happens, it's on me. So I said, hey, I just want to clear my conscience just so I said something. These vaccines are most likely very dangerous. This was like before, like right when it was coming out, or maybe even before. I said, there's going to be a vaccine coming out. Be careful. This is going to be dangerous. They're all dangerous. And I just want to let you guys know this. You guys can do what you want. You're adults, but I just need to clear my conscience in case something happens to you. At least I said something to you guys. And I just sent that text out, and that's all I said about it. They obviously follow my social media and things like that, so they know how I truly feel about all that stuff. So they probably saw my other things that I said about it. But yeah, I threw the warning out from the very beginning to
Ha-
everybody. And here we are. Here we are.
Here we are. Okay, and you said like half probably wouldn't listen to you. How was it received? Okay, did you get a lot of backlash from it, or how did that go?
Um, yeah, so it was received okay. I didn't get like a lot of like my family is pretty cool. They are
Yeah.
all pretty open-minded people.
Wow.
Especially my mom. We agree and think very similar on almost everything. But yeah, there was like some people that were maybe one person in particular I can think of that was basically like, if you're not vaccinated, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah.
And so they caught that whole thing, and they got a lot of flack for that. That person sent it through a group text, and they got a lot of flack through it, and I think they probably reconsidered maybe their decision on that after that because they realized that most of us actually weren't going to take it.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, it was like kind of divided, I think, like half and half through my family on who was like okay with it, okay with taking it, and then also like other people were just like, I'm not going to take it.
Hmm.
So
Have you seen any detriment to those who did take it?
yeah, unfortunately, yeah, there was. Um, yeah, I don't want to get too into medical details and stuff because I know
Okay.
that's
Yep.
their personal journeys. But yeah, there's definitely some signs there for sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
What do you think a lot of this had to do? Because it's nice to hear that half of your family was open minded, or that most everybody was still open minded. Because I've had many people on the show that were just like, it was just me, and then my whole family went the opposite direction. What is does it have to do with growing up in Nebraska? What's Nebraska like with all of this?
Okay, so Nebraska, so I grew up in Omaha. So Omaha is typically like pretty blue like most cities. But Nebraska is overall pretty red, pretty white, right-wing conservative. A lot of farmers and just,
Mm,
blue collar. Omaha is a pretty blue collared city, but it's very divided politically.
okay.
So we saw mandates and lockdowns, not necessarily lockdowns, but we saw mandates there where people were trying to kick me out for not wearing a mask, etc. And I just tried to plow through it best I could and just stand up for what I believed. But it was, honestly, in the city I lived in, it was pretty divided.
Hmm.
But once you get right outside of Omaha, I mean, it's just straight up like, you know, Trump flags and just, nobody, people, very, very anti-lockdown and mandates.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that. I want to so let's go into sharing your journey with raw meat. If you can first say what that means to you, and then I want to hear how you got there. Starting, if I have this correct, from your 20s, the depression and the anxiety and the celiac marker, which I think is really interesting. All right, so
Mhm.
what is eating raw meat look like, and knowing that you've been doing it for 7 years? I think it's your wife and your how old's your son?
He'll be 2 in December.
2. Oh, December. When's his birthday?
December 26th.
Oh, mine's the 7th. All right, tell me
Yeah.
about that.
About his birth,
Well, let's go into raw
raw meat.
meat eating first. Yeah, what does that look like? What do you do?
Yeah, we just basically just we eat a lot of red meat. So we'll buy like a whole grass-fed, non-vaccinated, no medications, nothing in there besides grass, cow, pastured cow. And we'll just eat it raw. We eat the whole thing raw. So we'll get it fresh. We'll eat fresh meat for about 3 weeks, and then the rest of it's frozen. And then we get all the organs and everything. We eat all the organs. We eat nose to tail. We eat everything from I'll eat everything from the eyeballs all the way down to the testicles off the animal. So we eat everything off the animal if we can get our hands on it. Sometimes it's really hard to get the certain glands, and it's also hard to get like certain organs like the brain. But yeah, we eat everything, and basically it's very simple. I mean, it's like pull a chuck roast or pull a ground beef pack out of the fridge and get it to room temperature and just throw it on a plate, and we'll get a side of grass-fed beef fat about the size of I don't know, like maybe like a small racquetball or something on the side there. So we just got meat and fat, and that's for lunch and dinner. And we also do a lot of raw dairy. So for breakfast, for me, it's looking like 6 raw eggs, and I'm doing now like 2 tall glasses of raw A2 Swiss milk.
Hmm.
We eat a lot of raw cheese and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, now that's one thing I haven't really experienced is raw dairy. Okay, so the one thing that I've talked about on my show, so I am like you, I don't eat sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol, except minorly occasionally. I can't say none at all.
Hmm.
And then I had done raw eggs in the morning, and I've started doing 3 versus 1. And it just like even my muscle tone and everything just shifted. So
Hmm.
I at least do that every day. Yet, in terms of, are you completely raw? Like, are vegetables uncooked as well, or do you do vegetables? What's
With the only vegetable that I eat is a potato periodically.
okay?
We might do a cooked potato like once a week or something.
Hmm.
But that's about it for vegetables for me. It's mostly just raw meat, raw dairy, fruit, and honey. And
Okay.
then yeah, we'll do like sauerkraut and pickles and olives and like stuff like that. But it's all mostly fruit. It's melons, cucumbers, olives. It's all mostly fruit. I don't really eat the vegetables that much because I don't crave them. I don't really like them that much. I just eat what my body likes and craves.
Well, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was I loved when I saw you with leave that it was more, hey, this is what I'm doing. This isn't for everybody. I'm not here to go, hey, you need to do this or you need to. So it was just, hey, I'm just sharing what works for me.
Hmm.
Can you talk about what led you to this?
Sure. Well, as far as what you just said, I do try not to be pushy about things because I know a lot of people can claim that like they have this miracle cure, this miracle diet, and it's like you should do it. You should do what I'm doing. I've witnessed that over and over again. I was kind of like that at the beginning too. And like a little bit, but as I get older and I evolve, I start realizing that like I may not know everything. So
Yeah.
it's like maybe I'll get into this like 10 or 20 years. And then if I'm convinced, I'll maybe come by, and tell everybody this is what you're supposed to be doing. But I do want to say though, I do believe that raw meat is our natural human diet. That's why my channel is called The Natural Human Diet,
Hmm.
because I do believe that it's very obvious to me that God created this meat for us to be eaten raw because we are the only animals on the planet that cook our food. And it's still a bit of a mystery on why we cook it, but I do believe it's our natural human diet. I think it's very obvious that we were meant to just kill the animal and eat it right there. But anyways, what got me into it was wasn't feeling very well, like probably late 20s. Um, it kind of it's kind of a long story to weave in, but like I had like a couple seizure episodes where I basically fell over and hit my face, and it seemed like I was like fainting. It was like they call it a drop seizure. It's called an atonic seizure. It happened a couple different times in my life, and this is like during my partying phases in my 20s. So I'm like, drinking a little bit of alcohol, and I'm using cannabis, and so it's kind of hard to figure out like what's causing what.
Yeah.
But it happened when I was like 19 twice. And then it happened again. And then I like basically stopped partying completely in my early 20s. I didn't drink, didn't use any drugs or anything like that from like 20 to 23 or 24.
Hmm.
And then I started like kind of getting back out there and having fun again. And when I was 27, I had a big, basically drop seizure. And this is while we were out like having a little bit of fun.
Mm.
But I wasn't like completely like inebriated at all. It was a weird thing that happened. I fell over, broke my jaw, shattered uh 12 of my teeth in half, and I shattered my jaw in three places.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I
That's
was like
significant.
it was a traumatic facial injury. And so
Jeez.
had to go to the hospital obviously, and
Okay,
uh
wait a minute. Did you just fell from a normal position or did
yeah, I
you?
was I was starting to feel weird, which is like what I know now is like the beginnings of starting to like black out or maybe get into like a seizure episode or something where you're starting to
Yeah.
get really like kind of foggy and feeling weird. And I just like put my hands in my pockets and I started walking towards my car and I just told everybody, I said, I need to go to my car and sit down. And it wasn't like 6 or 7 steps later that I just fell flat on my chin.
Oh man.
So yeah, so that was like the beginning of like that was like the injury, I believe, that like sparked my journey. And I
Yeah.
think this is not uncommon with people to get some kind of like major injury that like triggers like a major health cascade decline. Because I had my jaw wired shut now for 6 weeks, and I had to eat through like a straw. I lost 25 pounds in 6 weeks, and knew nothing about good nutrition back then. So what I was drinking was like Slim Fasts and Ensures. So it
Oh
was like
man.
basically like processed
Garbage.
baby formula. Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
bad. So that's what I lived on for like 6 weeks, and also liquid hydrocodone. So they had me on liquid hydrocodone like opioids. So now I'm basically just like fasting on opioids every day,
Oh my
which
God.
which sort of got me into like using those every once in a while now and getting me into liking that. So it was like this kind of thing that happened to me. But anyways, so that created like dental issues. Now I had all these broken teeth and in my back. Luckily, it wasn't my fronts,
Oh my gosh.
thank God, but it was all on my backs. And didn't have a bunch of money to fix it, didn't have dental insurance, etc. So I lived with like broken teeth for like severely broken teeth for like a couple years, maybe like a
Oh.
year and a half. Yeah. And so who knows what that caused. You know, there's a lot of people that say that like all your health problems come from your teeth because there's like meridians that run through your teeth that go to all
Yes.
your organs. And so now my health is like continuing to decline.
Okay,
I'm
can I ask you, did it hurt to chew? Like every
uh, at,
day, every t
at first, yeah, but then eventually your nerves just go numb. Like eventually it just goes away. But
Oh my gracious. Okay.
But yeah, so I knew something was wrong. Like I was at this point searching. I knew something was wrong. I was medicating super heavy with cannabis, which side note, I could have been subconsciously medicating my maybe undiagnosed epilepsy with the cannabis, which is why I was drawn towards cannabis every day. Like it made me feel normal. I
Okay.
don't know if that's the case, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, so medicating with cannabis every day, I'm looking for nootropics, I'm looking for vitamins, I'm taking vitamins and nootropics and taking all this stuff, trying to start to eat healthy, doing like my breakfast smoothies, and I'm kind of on that whole thing, like, you know, chicken and salad for lunch. That was like, you know, like the I'm getting healthy starter pack thing, you know?
Okay. So you were like, essentially, I do not want to live this way anymore. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
because I had felt so good in my early 20s, you know, when I was like completely sober and like lifting weights and basically bodybuilding. I felt like
Wow.
amazing. And from that to what I felt then, it was like so different. So I just started to kind of make slow adjustments and I was looking towards basically pills, like supplements and nootropics and all this stuff. And so fast forward to like 33, 34, 35. I heard about the carnivore diet. Dr. Sean Baker went on Joe Rogan, big podcast that opened up a lot of people's eyes. This guy was eating only steaks. And that just like flipped a switch in me. And it was just like it was right up my alley because I'm like part basically barbarian. I'm like part nerd, part barbarian, basically. So like the barbarian side of me was like, oh my gosh, I can eat only steaks. Give me a break here.
Okay.
So it blew my mind and it was very intriguing. And this guy looked super healthy and strong. So then I tried that. I was like, you know what? Um, wait, I got to go back just a little bit. The celiac marker.
Yeah.
So I did a 23andMe genetic test just to find out my ancestry. And a little side test that they did was they test your celiac markers, which I didn't even know about. And it told me that I had one of the markers for celiac disease. And so this was like one of those rabbit holes I went down where I was like, okay, maybe this is what's causing a lot of my problems, you know? Because at this point I was like getting almost hypochondriac, like neurotic about my health.
Mm.
Like I was like, do I have AIDS or like, you know, do what, like what's going on? Like, so I I got this celiac marker and I started looking into that and I was like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. I do feel like this. All these like celiac symptoms, I feel like that every day.
Man.
So then I went on the gluten-free diet. That was the first thing I ever did. And that like radically changed my life. Completely cutting gluten out. It completely changed my energy levels, but it also removed a bunch of psychological issues that I was having, like severe brain fog and mood swings and depression and almost like anger outbursts and like gluten rage and all these like weird things that were being triggered from bread. And so that radically changed my life. And then that's when I went into, okay, maybe I can take this a step further and I'm going to cut out like all carbohydrates. So then I cut out all carbohydrates with the carnivore diet. I started cooking eggs and bacon for breakfast. I started cooking ribeye steaks for lunch and dinner. Felt amazing. I did that for 30 days, got super lean, felt awesome. It was probably one of the first times in my life where I felt like I was in ketosis. My brain was functioning super high level. And then I discovered the raw meat diet with autogenous Thunder Planets. And I tried that after 30 days and I just never stopped eating raw meat because that made me feel even better. And so it was just like a logical progression to me to go, okay, I'm just going to keep taking this as far as I can go. And
Mm.
I believe raw meat is like the end of the road as far as like if you want to get the cleanest and the purest and the closest to nature, the most unadulterated. You know, it's not even touched by fire. It's not mutated by flames. The proteins and the fats are not denatured. The micronutrients are not removed from the heat. It's like as close as you can get to the way I believe God intended the food to be made. So that's why I stuck with it, and I started recording everything, and that's why I have videos from that moment until now, just like my progression and stuff. So
Okay, so knowing that you're part barbarian, part geek, when you first found out about eating raw meat, were you like, yeah, let's give that a try? Or, ooh, let me put this in my mouth and see how it feels? Like, was there distaste at all? Or just immediately you were like, yeah, this is great. Let's keep going.
yeah, it was a mix of both. It was a mix
Okay.
of both. So like the barbarian in me was like, yeah, let's just keep going. It was like primal, like let's just tear into this and eat it. But then there's the other side of me that was so used to eating processed foods, sugary, salty,
Yeah.
seasoned foods for, over 30 years at that point, that it took a while for my palate to adjust to just the very bland taste of raw meat. And
Mm.
so I started like seasoning it at first, and there was like a little bit of a gag reflex with the muscle meat, just a slight. And so then I would wash it down with water, which I know now is very bad. You don't drink water with your meals. But at least that's what I know as far as it doesn't help digestion. But eventually, yeah, with the organs, it was like severe gag reflex at first because the organs are like very strong flavors. Um, but I got used to all of it, and I actually started like loving the taste of it after a while.
Okay, like so which organs, like I know liver has a strong taste. What else?
Oh, kidneys super strong.
I yeah, I would imagine.
Kidneys super strong. And spleen is a weird one because that's basically like a blood filter.
Ooh,
So it's almost like you're eating like a piece of coagulated blood. So that's
that
a
sounds great.
it's really good for you. My baby loved it.
Oh my God. Okay. So initially it was like, but now it's cool.
Yeah, now I
Coagulated
really
blood.
like that like funky stuff. Like I like
Okay.
I like that like funky kidney flavor, and just like the weirder it is, the better it is for me now. I totally flipped over. Yeah.
And do you now not season anything at all? Like, is it not bland anymore? Like again, your palate adjusted to
Yeah, I'm just used to it now. It's like it's a total life change because now I'm eating for satiation. I'm not eating for pleasure.
okay.
And the times that we do eat for pleasure, we will go out and have like a cooked meal at a restaurant as a family, like maybe once a week or something. And that's just for like a treat.
Oh,
And then
interesting.
that's for pleasure. And it's
Okay.
it's amazing when you eat raw meat the whole week and then you go out and have like a nice cooked meal with seasoning and stuff. It's like it's a real treat.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but the rest of the week, it's just we eat for satiation and health.
Okay. All right. I I can eat. Okay, how do I say it? Like I'm not scared. I've tried bull testicle. I think it was cooked. Um, yeah, I'm open to trying pretty much anything
Hmm.
because I like my nutrition journey, if you want to call it that. I eat very little gluten. Like I have some gluten, but it's how it's evolved for me. It's not like, oh, I read this book and this is the best for me, but also learning things about, processed foods as well and dyes and all that
Hmm.
stuff that I just stay away from.
Hmm.
Yet where I am today is because of my progression, because of the choices, because of things that feel good for me, knowing that it will continuously evolve. When so it sounds like the same for you, yet you're just like, let's go. I'm willing to try this. I'm willing. Because I remember on one show you talked about after eating raw meat, just the vitality that you felt within your
Hmm.
body. Can you talk some about that?
Yeah, it was totally it was a primal feel experience. It was like
Okay.
a primal surge of energy. Like I literally wanted to like howl like a wolf, and I did. It was the craziest experience, but yeah, it was super primal. So yeah, it was like a mild euphoria, you know.
Okay.
I have to think about it now to describe it because now it's like I feel it almost every day. It's like the
Oh my
normal for
God.
me.
That's so nice.
But yeah, it's like a mild euphoria all the time. Like when you eat a meal, you don't get like bogged down or tired or anything like that. It just like elevates your euphoria, and like there's certain foods that elevate it more than others. Like brain is a big one. Brain is like an instant mild euphoria. You almost feel like giddy. And so is like high meat when you get into fermented liver. Like I
Hmm.
start grinning as soon as I have the jar in my hand. It's got like this energy attached to it. That's why they call it high meat because it makes you feel spiritually high because of the nutrient blast that you're getting from it. So yeah,
All right, let me sit with that for a moment. And what was the name of the person that you referenced that brought this to your attention?
his name is Augenus Wunderplanets, and that's like a pen name of his. But yeah, I can spell it for me if you'd
Yeah,
like.
please do.
Yeah, it's Aajonus, and then Vonderplanets, Vonderplanitz.
ITZ.
Very interesting guy. He was a total genius. He's got one of the most interesting life stories that I've ever heard in my life. He was like a
Wow.
non-speaking autistic that ended up fixing his health with raw meats and all this stuff, and he made all these discoveries. And he's the first guy that red pilled me on viruses. He knew about viruses a long time ago and just their true nature. And now it's getting to the point, if you follow Tom Cowan and these other guys, it's like, are viruses just not even there? Are they just artifacts of the microscope? It's getting deep into the rabbit hole now with the virus stuff. But anyways, Augenus is a guy that everybody should check out. He's got an amazing book called We Want to Live.
Oh,
It's out
nice.
of print right now, but you can find it. It's probably like $30 for a hardcover. And it's an amazing book. It's got the first half of it is his life story on how all the raw nutrition helped like save his son's life, save his life. And then the back end of the book is like an encyclopedia of knowledge. It's an alphabetical encyclopedia of like diseases and things that you can heal with raw foods.
Wow. All right, talk about I want to know about the home birth, which is so great. And the fact that what's your son's name? If you
Weston Jr.
Oh, Weston Jr. All right. So knowing that he came into this world, if I have this right, on raw meat, is that correct? Just like
Yeah.
right from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, he was, well, breast milk until he was able to, 4 or 5 months, and then we started feeding him raw meat. Yeah.
Okay. And was he just like, oh, let's go. This is
Oh,
great.
oh yeah, he was totally down. He loved it. He loved all the weird stuff. He ate kidney, he ate spleen, liver. He loved it. Raw chicken. That my baby is eaten raw chicken so many times, never been sick. I mean, the raw chicken thing is such a scam when people say you get sick from it. We've all eaten raw chicken for years, never gotten sick from it. But anyways, yeah. Now he's on a meat strike though, which is very interesting. My son he went like kind of vegetarian on us, which is very interesting. But kids do weird stuff with their foods.
And that
Uh,
they just go with their gut. I mean,
they
they
go with their
totally,
gut.
and if they're allowed to do it, they eat what they need. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And so he hasn't wanted meat for a long time.
Whoa.
Yeah, so we're just doing basically a lot of raw dairy with him. He's doing breast milk still, and then we're doing a lot of like raw cheese and raw ice cream, and like we're trying to get like a lot of raw dairy in there. But he's eating like pickles and sauerkraut and avocados and fruit and like all sorts of stuff like that right now. But yeah, he's been on a meat strike for a while. It's very funny. He's rebelling.
Love that. And he's what?
Mhm.
He's really tiny too. So wait till he gets older. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yep.
When how would you if someone was willing to try this, like they're listening to you today and going, "Hey, I would just like to give this a go." Okay, I also want to talk to you about food poisoning, also, like the myth of raw chicken. And I think I saw one show where you got food poisoning once from eating potentially a deer meat.
hmm
Okay,
Yeah.
but beyond that, you've been fine.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it can happen. It's not a myth. Don't let anybody tell you that it's people are
Yeah, I've
imagining
had it
these
before.
things. It
Hmm.
happened to me,
Okay.
and it's crazy. But it happened to me when I sort of went outside my normal sourcing for food, which is you got to be careful where you're sourcing your food.
Yeah.
I got it from a guy I knew at work. He hunted the deer himself. It was on land around here, but he did. I think he kept the deer. He dressed it in the field, and then he threw the deer in his truck bed. So it was in his truck bed for like a couple days before we cut the meat out.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that contributed to some sort of bacterial growth, some sort of E. coli overgrowth, or something like that. But anyways, yeah, I ended up eating it and got severe food poisoning. It lasted for like 4 or 5 hours. It was like vomiting and diarrhea. And then, but it was done after 4 or 5 hours, which is what made me, I was like, I knew it was the meat. And then, because I'm a little scientist and I have to experiment, I did it again. I said, you know what? I'm gonna make sure this wasn't a fluke, that this wasn't some sort of like wild game detox, like cleaning out my body because I wasn't used to eating wild game. I want to make
Okay.
sure that it was actually food poisoning. So I ate it again the next day and it happened again.
Jeez.
So yeah, the only time I ever got food poisoning was from wild game, from venison, from a source that I'm not 100% sure how it was prepared or handled for the few days before I got it. So you gotta be real careful about that. Um, but so far from getting basically 100% grass-fed beef and pastured chickens from local farms and organic pastured chickens from like natural grocers, we've never been sick.
Okay. And oh gosh, I have so many questions for you, Weston. When the Learning Channel, when you were on that with the E. coli, can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So yeah, part of the show was they wanted me to go get a test for parasites and bacteria. And I came back with no parasites after eating raw meat for 5 years. Um, and then, but I came back with the E. coli 0157, which is what they claim is like a bad strain of E. coli. So, but I had no symptoms at all. And so basically in the show, we talked for about 30 minutes, but they only obviously edited it down to a couple minutes conversation between me and the doctor. But I hit him with some hard-hitting questions, and one was like, uh, I don't have any symptoms, so what does that mean? And he said, well, you got to be careful about with this particular strain that you don't mix it with antibiotics.
Okay. The strain, I wrote this down, but I hope I got it right. 0157H7.
It might be H7, yeah. E.
Okay.
coli 0157, I know is the main part of it,
0157.
yeah.
And essentially, that E. coli is like if you have it, it's considered really bad.
It's considered bad, yeah. They
Okay.
think they think it's bad. It's associated with certain symptoms that are bad, right?
Yeah.
There's a correlation, but they trigger it as a causation. They have it down to a causation. Um, but so yeah, I just said, hey, there's no symptoms here. What's going on? And he said you got to be careful not to mix it with antibiotics. And that was like really telling because it was like, okay, wait a
No
minute here.
kidding.
Wait a minute, like, so are the pharma drugs actually like wiping out everyone's microbiome? And then when you introduce these natural strains of bacteria, it's causing like death-like symptoms in people, very deadly symptoms because of the pharma drugs. They will never admit that, but he said that in the show. I think he might have said it on the episode, but he definitely said it in person to me. So that was telling to me, and that's opened up my eyes big time when people talk to me about food poisoning and things like that. I always ask them, were you on antibiotics recently? Because I think there's a big correlation between antibiotics and people getting sick, and people don't make that connection. They just want to blame it on like a bacteria strain or something natural in our gut. So, anyways, no symptoms. I'm in the best health of my life, and I'm just basically, I know that I'm right, and I know this guy's going to try to convince me that I just got to be careful, just be careful. And so, yeah, no issues with that, and I still haven't had any symptoms from that to this day. So
Woo! Wow. Okay. If there's someone listening to the show and they are like, okay, intrigued with this, how would you suggest they get started or try it out?
like you can always start with sushi. Sushi's always a good start. It's raw fish. It's very palatable. But the next step would be just like a raw steak. Just get yourself a raw steak and just jump in and you can just jump right in and eat. You don't have to like inoculate your system slowly. You don't have to like get used to it. It's the easiest thing in the world for your gut to digest. There's no fighting it or anything. There's no, I got to make sure my microbiome adjusts over or something like that. Sometimes people can run into that issue with raw dairy, but I have not seen it with raw meat yet.
Okay.
So you can just jump right in.
Okay, and that makes sense because when you eat sushi, you just eat sushi. So if you want to even just go to something larger, you feel that's give it a go, give it a shot.
Yeah. 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 You literally just jump right in and eat until you're full, and just kind of go. You got to learn to like listen to your body and go with your
Mhm.
instincts and figure out like, am I full? Am I not full? Am I craving more of this stuff? But sometimes there's like an adaptation period where like for me, like you're converting yourself over from a standard American sort of garbage diet,
Yeah.
and you got to like fight. You have to sort of learn to like relearn your own instincts in a way. And
Yes.
that's when it comes down to discipline. And the biggest thing about this diet is discipline, and that's why a lot of people fail and just go back to eating whatever they want because you have to really discipline yourself to eat this stuff when you're almost gagging on it for like a couple weeks. And then after that, there's this thing that happens where you switch over and all of a sudden you're just craving this stuff and you're loving it and you're just like it's back to like the way that I think we were supposed to respond to food.
Wow. Okay. So if someone goes out and tries a piece of meat, I would recommend it. And I don't know how you, but again, not to go just to the grocery store, like to find a provider that has like good
Mhm.
meat. I mean, would
I
you
would
say that as
recommend,
well?
yeah, get on like eatwild.com and
Thank you.
realmilk.com. But eatwild.com is a great source. Link up with local farmers, ask them a million questions. They love answering them. Don't feel bad about answering them or asking questions
Oh,
because they get them all the time and they're just like us. That's why they're in the business of farming good food. So ask them what the animals are fed. Are they getting medications? Are they getting dewormers? Are they getting vaccines? Are the calves vaccinated? You have to be very specific. Are they vaccinated as calves? A lot of people will glaze over that.
interesting. All right.
Yeah, they'll tell you that the cattle are not vaccinated until you ask them were the calves vaccinated as babies, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." We've had that happen a couple times, unfortunately.
Jeez.
So you got to ask very specific questions. But yeah, you want to go straight to the farmer and just make sure that they're getting pastured food. If there's a little bit of supplement, make sure it's just organic. Um, but that being said, I know people that eat raw meat from Walmart, and they're perfectly fine too. I'm not going to recommend that or throw that out there as a like a recommendation. But if you don't have a bunch of money, I
Yeah.
know people that yeah they just go to the grocery store, and I've eaten grocery store raw meat and never had an issue.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you so much for sharing that too.
Yep,
Okay. Two things I want to ask you. At least I say this before we go into the practice.
yeah, that's okay.
Okay. In terms of prayer and meditation, how do you feel about that?
I love prayer and meditation. I think I should probably do it more right now, but I uh, I pray. We pray over every meal. I'm starting to pray over my water in the mornings, and I also pray before I go to bed. And so I pray a few times a day, but I would love to devote way more of my life to prayer and meditation because I think it's powerful. And I think that we have our intentions can have effects over our reality and over other people. And I think we can heal each other, we can heal other people. I think it's super powerful. I love it.
I would concur with that. And beautifully, I get to spend most of my day in my work doing that. So I can attest. Yeah, it's freaking fabulous. It's changed my
Mhm.
life. And for me, meditation is I call it one of the keys to spirituality. It's so
Mhm.
important. Okay, you have also your book club. Oh, and I also want to talk about your website, Rowe Naturals, because y'all have organic cotton on there. I look at my list real quick. Or organic cotton clothing, and I understand it that wool and organic cotton have the highest vibration in terms of putting it on your body. Talk about your website, how
Yeah,
you came up with it. What? Yeah, tell us about it.
sure. Yeah, and I think I believe linen might be the highest.
Oh, yep, you're correct. Thank you so much.
Love linen. I always feel great when I
Thank
wear my
you.
linen shirt. So yeah, we started Rowe Naturals over 2 years ago, and it started with just a tallow balm that my wife made for my beard because that was when I first started growing my beard out. I was like, I need a balm, something to like shape this out, and she
Okay, for
made it.
wait,
Yeah,
can you say for so I have this audio and visual for people that can't see you. Describe
yeah.
your beard.
Oh yeah, it's just basically a wild, unkept beard. I've grown it out as long as I can. It's pretty curly, so it only goes down to basically top of my chest right now, but. Yeah, I only started trimming up my sideburns here just because I felt like that made it look a little bit more shaped. But I basically haven't cut my beard or my hair in like over 3 years. So yeah, she made a balm for me. I loved it. And I was like, we should start selling this. I was like, I have a social media platform. This is like very clean stuff that we're putting in here. It's so clean you can eat it. So I was
Oh
like,
wow.
let's start selling it. Yeah, you can eat all of our tallow products. But anyways, I wouldn't recommend the soap though. It probably wouldn't taste good. But Anyways, yeah, we started the website, started with tallow balm, and then she made like a whipped tallow, so you can whip it in like a cream. Then we got into like vanilla whipped and lavender infused whipped. We do only herbal infusions. We do no essential oils. So we have particular views on essential oils. I know some people they love their essential oils, but we do only herbal whole plant extractions into it.
Okay.
Which sort of separates us. The two things that separate our company are the full herbal infusions, and
Okay,
then
so what does that mean exactly? So the herbs are in there versus just drops?
yep, yeah. So we
Okay.
don't use the concentrated form of the terpenes and flavonoids or whatever that they use to make scented or flavored, essential oil stuff. We take the herb like the organic vanilla beans and we slow infuse it into the tallow over the
Okay.
course of like 3 days,
Okay,
and
got
then
it.
we strain it out and then we then make the balms out of that. So,
Jeez.
but yeah, it's all herbal infusions and it's also 100% non-vaccinated tallow. So. Yeah, and then we got the organic cotton clothing, and yeah, we're starting to get into like natural goods, like toothbrushes and things like that.
Yeah, you have a whole section on oral care. Was that because of what you like? Are your teeth fixed? What would you say to that?
Yep, they're fine.
Look at
Yeah,
that. Look at those pearly whites. Yeah, how'd you do that?
yeah. I don't use toothpaste either. I want everybody to know I've been brushing with water for 7 years. But anyways, how did I fix my teeth?
Yeah.
Well, I got $12,000 in dental work, so
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I have 8 fake teeth in my mouth. I have three tooth
Oh,
bridge right here. I got a 4 tooth bridge at the bottom down here. I got a fake tooth over here, crown, whatever you want to call it, and then a few amalgam. So I have unfortunately some unhealthy chemicals and things in my mouth right now from the dental work, but you just got to live with it.
mm-mm.
Yeah.
How do you have other people? Because it sounds like even to make the tallow, like how do you guys, and knowing that you do construction and you do other things during the day, do y'all have people to help you with your company and shipping, or is it just you guys?
Just me and my wife. We did everything, just me and her
Wow.
from the ground up. She does all of the kitchen stuff. She does all the cooking. She does all the recipes. She makes all the soaps and the tallows and everything like that. She's pretty much a genius in that department. And then I do all of the websites, I pack all the packages, and then yeah, I do all the financial stuff, I do all the taxes and everything like that.
So if I get a package, it's put together by Weston.
I put it together. Yep.
Oh my, so does she do that full time?
Well,
Sounds like she,
she's got the baby full time,
Weston
and then
Jr.
she does that. I would say less than part-time at this point, thankfully. We
Okay.
have a nice balance going to where it's a steady flow of packages going in and out every day, but it's not so much to where
Not so
like
much.
she's completely buried all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, we'll say um she'll have to make some tallow stuff. It just kind of depends on the flow. But yeah, some weeks she's really busy and then she'll have like a week off or 10 days off where she doesn't do anything.
Man, so
Yeah.
great. All right. Yeah, everybody listening, please yeah, go to their website, check it out. I mean, this is just a great story, an entrepreneurial story, a y'all just doing this because it's good stuff. So, I love it. All right, can we? Let me think if there's. Oh, no, I think. Oh, in your book club as well. So maybe we'll talk about that too. Can
Sure.
you go? What are you going to do for us for the Just Be practice today?
Just be
Okay,
practice.
so the Just Be practice. Can you give me a rundown exactly again what you're looking for that?
Yeah. So anything to elevate, awaken our listeners to give them more knowledge. Like if there are certain books that you're like, oh my gosh, these books, I know you already mentioned some, are the
Oh yeah,
best.
right.
So yeah, so any information to help everybody just know more, learn more.
Sure. Okay, so book requests, I would get that a lot. So I actually made an Instagram page called the Primal Book Club because I was tired of listing out all the books in a DM. I was like, I'm just going to start posting and make a page, and it's gotten kind of popular. People kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Primal Book Club is all one word. So as far as books, like, top 10 books, We Want to Live by Augenis Planets, obviously Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston Price,
Mhm.
Dissolving Illusions, if you want to get the whole scoop on vaccines, Dissolving Illusions by Dr. Suzanne Humphreys. That's an amazing book. Hidden Messages of Water by Masaru
Oh my God.
Emoto. That's an insane book.
It's great.
Yeah, that's a great book. And then there's also like, man, I got my whole collection over here. There's just so many. But Ivan Illich, Deschooling Society. That's an amazing book. If you want to learn about just how school is bad, you know. Pretty wild. But yeah, so there's some good books for you. Oh yeah, How to Be a Schizophrenic is also an amazing book too. Uh,
That's an interesting title. Please explain that one a little bit. I'm not familiar with that one.
it's been a while since I read that one, but it comes from a guy that was a schizophrenic, and then got cured, like cured himself somehow.
Yeah.
So it basically goes into how like what they're diagnosing as schizophrenia is like not how they're handling it is not correct. And
Okay.
he got into basically he had a super traumatic childhood. It was basically his schizophrenia was induced by the way his parents treated him. And so it's just it's his whole story, his whole backstory and what happened to him, and then how his schizophrenia is almost like resulted from that. It's not like a genetic thing, it's not
Yeah.
this or that. It's a super good book, but it's a basically, I think they call it's a basic the case against biological psychiatry or something is the short title of the book. But it's a case against psychiatry, let's put it that way. So yeah, anyways, what was that? What were we talking about before that? I forget. So anyways, yeah, those are some good books. And as far as like spiritual practices and things like that, my favorite thing that I learned, oh, okay, sorry. Back to the books thing. Read all Dr. Robert Mendelssohn's books as well. That guy's a super genius. Um, and Jerry Marzinsky, his study on schizophrenics in prison.
Ooh.
He discovered he did the most extensive research on schizophrenics in prison over 25 years, and he found out that all the voices were the same in all of them, and that they came from demons. So super interesting book. But and then that transitions into like my spiritual practice, basically, or my what I would recommend or what I've learned. And one of the most interesting things that I've learned is that like most of the time, like our thoughts are not our own thoughts, and a lot of thoughts are inserted into us, and we are tricked into believe that our thoughts are our own when they're actually not our own. And so, what I would say for everybody is to just realize that and realize learn how to disconnect yourself from your thoughts and realize that we don't create them. It's like, it's almost like, a river, whatever you want to call it, that flows above your head. And if you can disconnect yourself from that and realize that, I believe that the dark one or the devil or whoever you're going to call it, he speaks in thoughts. And I believe that the higher beings speak in revelations. And I believe that's two separate experiences, thoughts versus revelation. Revelations being sort of like your light bulbs that go off and sort of like your aha moments. Those I think are like the higher frequencies. And I think the lower frequencies are the ones where you're getting talked to in your head, you're getting negative thoughts, you're getting, things like that. So I just, I think if everybody realized that, the world would be a much better place.
I love that. I love you talking about your books, and I love you bringing that in at the end too. So I would state that one of the great ways to do that is meditation, where you allow yourself to get out of that monkey mind, out of that all the jibber jabber that's going on. That will, and from my experience, allow you to have those revelations.
Hmm.
Yeah. What would you say meditation with that,
Yeah.
or what would you
Yeah.
recommend?
100%. I do it a little bit at night. But yeah, if you can practice that as much as you can. I used to be a lot better at it. My discipline is not very good at that right now because I've been so overwhelmed with moving across states and moving our business and having our kid and stuff that I've been slacking a little bit on that. But I really have. So, but if I was pretty good at it like a while back, and you can learn to implement that throughout the day.
Yes.
So like if you're having moments where you're getting like negative thoughts is like, a big one for me. Like just these negative thoughts about like people, and I'm just like, that's not of me. And especially if it's negative thoughts about your family, you can almost guarantee that's from the dark side because there's nothing that he wants more than to tear families apart, So disconnecting from that, learning how to meditate, getting long stretches of meditation. and then practicing it over and over again, then you can just in the middle of the day, if you're just driving down the road or whatever, you can just kind of learn to just disconnect yourself. And I've learned to identify those moments now, which is a good step.
Yes, very
If
good.
if I'm getting those like negative thoughts or anything like that in my head, I know what it is now, and it's easy to disconnect from it.
Beautiful. All right, Weston, thank you so much for sharing. I would say your beautiful heart and your what you got going on in raw meat. I thank you so much for, you know, bringing all that to the table so everybody can learn from it. Thank you so much. Hang on with me just a moment for us to say goodbye. Yeah, every week, just beautiful people just like Weston. Come join us. All right, see ya.
Bye.
Y'all, find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, True Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So like, subscribe, do it all. See ya.